Hey guys, I'm Scott and welcome back to the Dynamics Post. This week we're going to continue looking at the transportation module. Specifically, we're going to look at scheduling the loads and also the driver check-in and check-out. We'll take a look at that when we get right back. Okay, so scheduling the load and the driver check-in and check-out is not something that went over in our original example. I didn't include that, but this is something that can kind of be done anywhere along the process. So you can go ahead and release the work and then schedule, or schedule then release the work. Really doesn't matter either way. But today what we're going to do is we're going to look at two different ways for the driver to check in and check out. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at an example at doing that inside Dynamics 365 in the driver check in and check out screen. And then what we're going to do is we're also going to look at it. You can do this in mobile as well. So we're going to set up the warehouse mobile device and set up the driver check-in and check-out menus there. So before I continue on, if I put out a new video every week, if you like this content, please hit subscribe and the notification bell. You'll get notified when I upload a new video. Like I said, I upload them at least once a week. All right. So the first example, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at just inside Dynamics 365. We're going to look at a couple of setup steps, and then we're going to look at inside Dynamics 365 doing the driver check-in, check-out, and the schedule. All right, so for the appointment scheduling, there's only a few little setups that we need to do. So let's go into transportation management. Then under the setup section, there's a section for appointment scheduling. And there's two options here, appointment rules and appointment change reasons. So let's go ahead and look at appointment rules. And this is where you're kind of setting up the docs. I guess this could be used for a couple of different things, but the way that I like to use this, I set up for docs. So I've created one here called Doc 24 Outbound. So this is for Warehouse 24. And you mark the item movement direction, whether it's outbound or inbound. So this one I've marked it as outbound. And when we're doing the appointment, we can set a location where the appointment's going to occur. So a specific warehouse location where you want the appointment to occur, you can set that. And this location profile ID narrows down the list of locations you have to look at. So I'm not really going to set a location in this example, so I'm going to leave that blank. Some of the other options you have here, you can require a driver check-in before the shipment's confirmed, a max number of appointments on that. So that'll limit how many appointments you can schedule to the actual dock. And then the duration. So one of the main reasons for doing this is to capture statistics of when the driver came in and then when he actually left. So I did 30 minutes, which would be a pretty short dock duration, but you'd set this for the number of minutes. Now the other thing that you can set up is, so we're going to go into the same menu. So transportation management, setup, appointment scheduling. If we go to appointment change reasons, we can set up reasons for when the appointment's canceled. So when we cancel the appointment, there's a drop down that says, why is it being canceled? So right now, these three are set up. So just pretty simple, just a reason and a description on those. All right, so that's the only setup that I've had to do here. All right, so let's go over to a sales order. And I'm going to use the same example that I've been using here. So I've got Cave Wholesales US 004. You've got an item here for one. If we go and look at the work, let's see, we've got work on this one. Yep. So I've got work here, and I've already gone and picked this work, so the work is actually closed. And let's go ahead and go to the load planning workbench. So we're going to go to the load planning workbench. And I can actually schedule this appointment before the work's picked, but just for brevity here, I wanted to go ahead and pick the work. So basically, I've gone through the same example we've done before. I did a rate and route, released it to the warehouse, I picked it. And again, you can set an appointment pretty much anytime you want to during this process. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the transportation drop down here and click on appointment scheduling. And I'm going to go ahead and create a new appointment. And here's where the appointment rule comes in, and I'm going to use my Doc 24 outbound. So it's just an easy way. It allows you to filter up here as well. When you go to this main screen, you got a lot of appointments that lets you filter for a specific dock. So then that defaults the item movement direction. I can change that though if I wanted to. And then here's where I can set an appointment date and time. So let's say it's going to be tomorrow at, instead of 9 p.m., we'll do 9 a.m. And so there's a couple of options here. So there's plan start date and time at location, and then plan start date and time. So this is in my time zone, and this is in the time zone of the warehouse. Okay, and then on here you have the reference type is the load, and then the reference number, which is going to be the load number. I can put notes. I can also put other items down here. It's defaulting in the shipping carrier because I did a rate and route, so it's defaulting that in there. But I can put in the tractor number, trailer number. I can set a location here if I want to. And this is where that location directive would kick in. So I didn't specify location. So it's basically showing me all of my locations here. All right. So once that has been done, once you've entered that in, this is still a tentative appointment. So we can update the status to firm. One of the things we'll notice, I'm going to go to another screen real quick. So if I come back over to transportation management again, and then go under the planning section and then dock appointment scheduling. So if I go to this driver check-in and check-out menu, you'll see that I don't have the appointment that I'm working on there yet because it's still tentative. So as soon as I firm this up, so let's go ahead and update the status here. We'll firm it and save it. And then if I go back to that driver check-in, check-out screen and refresh, we'll know that we'll see that that appointment is there now. So this is going to be kind of your main screen for reviewing and seeing the status on these appointments. Okay. So now from this point, I can go and I can do a driver check-in and check out from here. I can also do a driver check-in and check out from the from this screen as well. So I can go ahead and click on here, come into the driver check-in, check out details, and this is going to be a check-in. So I'll go ahead and do a driver check-in. That's the only one that's available to me. And I have different options I can fill in. I don't have to fill in really anything here, but I can fill in the trailer number, tractor number, driver's name, driver's license, etc. And go ahead and it does give me the plan start date and time. So I can give the actual start as well if I wanted to. Go ahead and say okay. And now the status of that is checked in. All right, so if I come back here and come back to our driver check-in, check-out screen, the status is set to checked in. Okay. And then so I had that 30-minute status, so it's that 30-minute appointment there, so that's why it's saying time remaining, and I've got a countdown here of 25 minutes. So that'll just continue to countdown. All right, now when I'm ready for the driver to check out, or when they're done with loading the truck, I can go back to the driver check-in and check out. And now the driver checkout is highlighted. So if I go ahead and click on that, and I can put in the driver's name or that information because I didn't put it in before, or again, I can leave it blank. And it's going to give me the planned end time, and then I can put in the actual end time if I want to. So I can go ahead and say okay to that. All right, so this point, that has been completed. If I come in and go ahead and refresh, I'll notice that appointment disappears. I can come back up here and click on cancel or completed. And then there is our appointment here. So this gives us the different statuses. Like I said, the main reasons for doing this is keeping statistics on how long things are taking. So I had 25 minutes and 15 seconds remaining on that dock time. So I got that one done really quick. But gives the actual start and stops as well as the planned there. So next thing I want to do is show you what happens when you cancel an appointment. You know, if the appointment changes or the transportation company can't make it, when you cancel it, you're going to set a reason code. We'll see that in an example. So let's take a look at an example of that next. We're going to go ahead and cancel an appointment. Okay, so I've set up for this next example, same type of sales order, same customer, same item number here. And so let's go ahead and go into the load planning workbench. So we're going to go to warehouse, load planning workbench. And I've already released this to warehouse, created a load, did all the rating around it, kind of basically the same setup as we did the last time. Now I've also gone ahead, so I went and created an appointment. And so I've got an appointment here. And what I wanted to do is show you what happens when you cancel an appointment, how those reason codes come up. So what I'm going to do is I want to cancel this appointment. This one's scheduled for tomorrow at 9 a.m. So I'm going to go up the update status and hit the cancel button. And here's where the reason code for cancel shows up. So I can go ahead and put maybe equipment breakdown, truck broke down for a note, and then go ahead and hit OK. All right. And then when I pull up this appointment screen, it's filtering on the load, so I can click on display completed or canceled appointment. So it's going to show me that that appointment had been canceled here, and I can go up to the appointment history, for example, and see some different. There's our reason code there for our cancellation, right? Okay, so just wanted to show you that. All right, so this next example, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at using the mobile app. We're going to actually use the warehouse mobile app to do the driver check-in and check-out. We're still going to create the appointment in the same way inside the system, but you might have a worker that doesn't have access to a workstation, and all they have is their mobile app or their phone or whatever. You can set up menu items inside the warehouse mobile app for driver check-in and check-out. So in this example, we're going to set up the mobile device, the menu items, and then we'll do the driver check-in and check-out from there. All right, so the mobile menu setup is pretty straightforward. So what we're going to do is we're going to go underneath warehouse management, and then we're going to go under setup, then mobile device, and then mobile device menu items. And into this, I created two options here, driver check-in and driver check-out. Both modes are indirect. These don't use work, so these are going to be indirect modes. And then the activity code is going to be driver check-out and driver check-in. And then what I did is I added that to the mobile menu. So if we go to the mobile device menu screen, I created a submenu called driver, and it has our two options there of driver check-in and check-out underneath it. And then underneath the main menu, I added that driver menu down below the quality menu there. Okay. So if we flip over to our mobile device, our main menu, our driver menu is right here underneath quality. So if I click on driver, now we have the driver check-in and check-out. All right, so what I did was I created a sales order for us and used the same example that we've been using. So our A0001 for customer US 004. I created a load from the load planning workbench. I rated and routed it, and then I created an appointment schedule. So to view our schedule here, what we're going to do is we're going to go underneath transportation management, and then we're going to go into this driver check-in checkout screen. And here's our appointment here that was created for tomorrow at 9 a.m. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the load as a reference for my driver check-in, check-out. So I'm just going to copy that load ID here. And we'll close that back out. And we're going to flip over to our menu. So remember where we got to from here. We just created a menu here under the main menu called driver. And then we have our driver check-in and check-out. So we're going to go to our driver check-in. And we're going to paste our load ID in there and go ahead and say OK. It's going to give me a few details about the load. Going to Cave Wholesales, the ID and the weight. I'm just going to say OK. It's going to ask me show the shipping carrier. So that's defaulting from the appointment. We're going to say OK. And then we have our driver check-in complete. All right, so we come back to our driver check-in, checkout screen, go ahead and hit refresh. We'll see that the status is now checked in, and we have our timer running with our 30-minute appointment that came from our doc rule there. Okay, so checkout is basically the same process. So let's go back to our mobile device. We're going to cancel out of that, and let's go to our driver checkout screen. We're going to go ahead and paste our load ID in there. We're going to say OK. Again, it's going to give us some details, just the ID and the ship to. I'm going to say OK, and then now the driver checkout is complete. So now if we go back to the driver check-in, checkout screen, go ahead and hit refresh, we'll see that it's gone. But then we can go ahead and display our completed and canceled appointments. There's our completed appointment for that load there. Okay. So now at this point we can, I don't think I showed it in the last example, but if we want to, we can go to the shipment and go ahead and confirm that and print our paperwork, just a normal finish out, and then create the invoice for the sales order. So you can see this functionality is pretty simple to set up. There's not a lot to it. It allows you just to set up a schedule for the dock doors and be able to check in and check out the drivers. This is pretty important in some instances because a lot of transportation companies will actually charge you if the driver has to stand around and can't load his truck, or if the driver's there too long. So a lot of times it's really important to keep up with this information. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found some value in it. I put out one of these every week, so please feel free to subscribe, and definitely like the video if you enjoyed the content. That helps the distribution of the video. So until next time, thanks for watching.